All right, so welcome to podcast number 8. My name's Dakota Lang. This is Garrett Cotton here. Hey, man, had a lot of stuff happen in the past month, you know.
Our last shoot was down there with Levon Kyle in
Levon
Utah.
Kyle, that's right, yep, in Salt Lake.
Yep.
So that was a good shoot. If you haven't listened to that, go check out that podcast. A lot of great information. We've had a lot going on in our lives, you know, big learning curve. You know, I got an announced market owner, so just trying to make that transition down to Austin, Texas. You know,
Yeah,
as we
let's
know.
do a kind of just catch up just from since we've been in Utah.
Okay.
One of the big things that's happened is we did announce that you're going to be taking over the Austin, Texas branch
Yep.
for Performance Windows. So since then, 2 weeks ago, you've flown down to Austin. You've picked out the place that you're going to live.
Yeah.
Got to attend 2 meetings in Austin.
2 meetings, yeah. Two.
Yep, got to start with 2 meetings in Austin.
Yeah.
Start to meet the people down there.
Yeah.
And,
Got Louise's first sale.
Got Louise's first sale, so it's like getting started. And then tomorrow we actually leave for Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So this year's already been a ton of stuff that we've
I know, dude,
experienced.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I look back at like when I was telling Clayton that last night, we were sitting on the porch, and I was like, dude, you realize in the middle of December was when I had that call back for cruise at 65,000. I hit my golden door.
Yep.
And we also did get both of our golden doors.
Yep.
So
Another thing there.
yeah, another accomplishment that we had is both of our first golden doors. So it was a pretty cool experience. Shout out to Door to Door Con. Impressed me. I didn't think it was going to be that intense for sure.
And a lot of people were there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to meet a couple Instagram and TikTok famous people that
Yeah.
are in the door-to-door space. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. I know we didn't get to stay long enough to see Lance Armstrong and Shaun White and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll
but
probably do it next year though.
Yep. First one, definitely a good experience.
Good experience. Learned a lot, you know, and it was really just shocking, you know, about the support that's, you know, into that door to door con stuff. Like that's no joke.
Yeah.
And but let's just jump right into it, man. Let's kind of just talk about, you know, let's go back to before Utah, whenever we were in the Denver office, how we grew so big. You know, we were the top office throughout the country for 4 straight months. You know, big accomplishment for all the guys in the office, as well as us, man. We worked hard for that.
Yeah,
It was a good run.
We can kind of do a little bit of analysis of even looking back to see how we got our office to get to being the top office for 4 months. Really close month in February, I mean in January.
Yeah.
We lost our little streak right there, but we're going to come back. It's going to be really good.
Yeah.
But going back to like whenever we started to see our growth as an office. So one thing that I think that we do so well here is like we just hold the standard very, very high. We hold everybody accountable. Every time that we go out and we send people out to neighborhoods and stuff like that, if we see Trello boards looking wrong, we're immediately taking action on that kind of stuff. If we see people doing something that they're not supposed to do, we address it immediately. So as far as ourselves, whenever we came out here, the people that have grown with our office, I would say that we've done a good job of not allowing a lower standard to enter our office.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we definitely keep it to where we understand what we're trying to achieve, and if you're not trying to achieve the same things as us, then it's kind of to where you don't feel welcome in the room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to just trimming the fat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when people come in and, you know, it's more of a, you know, like you said, the standard that was built in this Denver office, which helped us, you know, accomplish that. It really comes down to, you know, what you set the standard for initially. You know, when I came in, when Dylan came in, Lizzie, Gup, you know, whenever all those came in and they're now closers, you know, just throughout the growth of the company, I don't even know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, what we were doing, though, is we just implemented a huge change.
Yeah.
Right? So by trimming the fat is we trimmed our own fat. We used to have the very lazy part lifestyles that we would sleep late, you know, go out and party, you know, enjoy it. We live day to day.
Yeah.
The Louisiana lifestyle is what I like to call it. Is we just you wake up and you just do whatever the day brings at you. And when we came up here, we trimmed our lives, and we trimmed off the bad decisions. We trimmed off the comfort choices instead of choosing the hard route. And by making that big change, it's changed our lives as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So trimming the fat in our life is a good way to put it, you know. And then by doing so, we do it to ourselves. And then once we're able to rely on ourselves and we trust ourselves, that's whenever people start to rely on us. And then that's where the growth of the office became, As I started to trust myself that I'm going to go out there and produce what I say I'm going to do, then I show others the way that I've been able to transform my mind into that mindset. And by doing so, we just repeat that process.
Let's really just break down like this run that we had. All the people that have changed their lives and kind of, I know we talked about this, and I think it was episode 2. But let's kind of just break it down a little bit more of what we mean by trim the fat. You know what I mean? Trim the fat in our own personal lives, as long as and as well with people that come into the office. So whenever we went on the first month was September, went all the way down through 2023, all the way through December. January we did come up a little bit short, but hey, shout out to Phoenix, they did a hell of a job on that. But let's just talk about, the changes that we had to implement straight directly into our lives to, transcribe to the people below us that, helped influence them to change their lives to where we had the success, and now it's then gotten so big where we had to split offices into Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I would say that the big factor is the discipline that we've instilled. Prime examples of what we do is we don't lie to each other. We don't lie to ourselves. If we say that we're going to do something, we go and do it. And if we don't do it, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it for probably a week about the one day that you came up with an excuse. So just being disciplined about what we say we're going to do and actually following through with that action is what's helped us a lot.
Yeah, and that comes back to it really stuck with me whenever Levi dropped that into the Voxer the other day, as far as, when we go through this discipline journey, holding ourselves accountable, and he made a good point. He said, if you lie to yourself, the saying was, if you lie to yourself, or if you let somebody else lie to you as much as you lied to yourself, would you be friends with those people? Mm-mm. Absolutely not, So building that self-courage, like you said, that discipline, if you say you're going to do something, to do it. And, if you don't, then you're definitely going to hear from it, which comes from the accountability that, was in the Denver office.
Yeah. And it's definitely helped us to continue and grow that way. But for us, it's kind of what I would say too is that we're at an advantage here in our situation, because we've all been able to leave home and separate ourselves from the distractions, and you can even trim the fat from back home.
Yeah,
that can be family and friends, the people you hang out with every single day. Some of the old people you used to work with, you may have quote, quote, been on the same path as those people, but in the reality is they're the people that were holding you back from your true potential.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always say it is, you never want to be the smartest man in the room.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the smartest man in the room, you better step out and go to the next room. And I give everybody that analogy whenever they get up here.
Yeah.
When they get a culture, same way as me. When you get up here and you get culture shock and you start surrounding yourself with people that are driven, goal driven.
Mm-hmm.
And back home, it's not, people say they have goals, they have their New Year's resolution, but the lifestyle that we've built here is second to none to that. Mm-hmm. Like you said, a huge accountability. Whenever you become it's kind of like when you get up here and you get in a culture shock in a sense, as far as like, why are these people so happy to be at work? People walk in and they're intimidated by the room that we built. Yeah. And, they walk in and that was one of the things, first things that Clayton told me was that, his first day in the office, he was like, man, why is everybody so excited to be at work, And it's almost to the fact that you changed your whole mindset.
Yeah, it goes back to that saying, if you want to be the best, you got to be obsessed.
Yeah.
And we implement that with everybody in our room. We really just want to be the top office.
Yep.
We want to be the top closers. We want to be on the leaderboard. Somebody from our office better be on the leaderboard, either closer or knocker, every month.
Every month.
And Big Check Friday, we want to see our names up there.
Yep.
And that's the mentality that we really implemented that throughout our entire office. So I love it, though, because it keeps people motivated. It's crazy, though, because whenever morale does go down, it's not the same office. Like the chats aren't the same and stuff like that. But that's some of the struggles that we've experienced with the size of the office getting so big. Whenever we first kind of got things rolling, we had our record-breaking month with less people in the office. reason for that being is because you get to have more intentful or intimate times with the knockers and the closers, that you can have great trainings and really get your message across. What I've noticed is that with the size of the office getting to 20, 25 people up to that size, is whenever we get in there, it's you get 10 minutes of training time. And when I try and do one-on-ones, I can't go through a fourth of the room in one-on-one. So it takes me 4 days to go through one-on-ones. Yeah. So as far as holding people accountable, it gets really hard because people, like we said before, they start to slip off into the shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think that just goes back to like you said, with the office growing so big, it's just back to the buddy system. Mm-hmm. Too much friendship going on and stuff like that. And falling off into the shadows. And that's when it really comes down to that. I feel like in the past month is when my life has completely changed. I know yours has as well, just through this transition period, because it comes down to trimming the fat. Mm-hmm. Right now this office right here is going through a huge growing pain. With you got some people that are leaving for Austin, Texas, and the people that are still staying here. And some of the people on both bandwagons are may not make it. Mm-hmm. Let's kind of just break down that as far as whenever you grow in that big of numbers. What's just the advice, or I guess you can say the approach. What's the approach for as far as like trimming the fat and anybody that's just an average person, because we want high performing people in this room.
I think the best way to treat any type of situation that we're currently in is just you can't let emotions get involved. Because whenever you start dealing with friends, and especially us, we're working with a lot of friends. Our biggest issue is we start to notice that we will allow people to have mistakes. It's because you're friends with them, and like say, there's people who may not get their self sets and stuff like that. And it's hard to hold those people to a full accountability because you start to let you feel bad, you feel empathy for them because they give you some excuse of like something happened, and deep down you're like, well, I mean, could you have changed that? And that they could, but you let emotions get in the way, so you don't actually take action on something. 100%. So again, back to my favorite saying of success doesn't make you heartless; it makes you use your heart less. So for us, if we want to continue to see success in the office, we just have to start doing what we need to do versus what our emotions may influence us to choose otherwise.
Mm-hmm. And I know we talked about the office and everything like this, but let's just revert back to just in day-to-day life as far as cutting the fat. Mm-hmm. As far as like when you look back on who we were as an individual, me a year ago. Literally, who you were 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Looking back to that individual and who you surrounded yourself with, and no shade to anybody, as far as going back to the analogy of if you were the smartest guy in the room, so you just had to find another room, and you found that room to where you weren't the smartest guy. Yep. And that really goes back to just trimming the fat. The people that, if there's somebody around you that's holding you back just as far as your self-esteem, as your confidence, as far as your goals, well then even though, like you said, if you let that emotion affect that decision, well then it's most of the time probably not going to be the best decision for you. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a very tough situation when working with friends and stuff like that. And that's one thing, throughout this transition, I'm really starting to figure out. Mm-hmm. I've never been in your shoes, until the past 2 weeks. And now I'm seeing it. I'm visualizing what's happening here in the next year. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now you're starting to take a step back and see like, all right, this has happened and this has happened. Now you're starting to want to predict what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And as far as like, with working with your friends and stuff like that. A lot of people say that that's the worst thing that you can do. I love working with my friends, but like me and you always had the mindset, when we're in this office, business is business and friendship is friendship.
Yep.
We can hang out outside of work and we can be the best of friends, but when we come into this office, there's no emotion attached. We're here to grind.
Yeah, and that's really laying down the law of what we're here to do.
Yep.
And if people come in here, and that's what's hard about the size of the office getting so big, is because sometimes it's hard to implement and get them on the mindset of what the end goal is.
Yep.
They come up here and they're like, oh, I want to make a lot of money in a short period of time, which that's us too, but it's going to open up so many doors that we know that there's other things coming from this versus them. They just come up here and they see, I need to make quick money. I left home, but I don't know how long I left home for because it's always home. Will I go back? So for us, we came up here with the intent of not going back. We're going on to whatever's next for it. We're going with the flow.
Yeah, well, I was telling Clayton about that last night on the porch, and I told him because I got home last night from Austin, Texas. He picked me up, and we were sitting out there hanging out, and I'm like, dude, there ain't nothing looking like at the Rockies. There's nothing like looking at the Rockies. It's absolutely gorgeous, and we started talking. I said, dude, growing up, I've always said that, I'll go live in Texas. You know what I mean? I never in a million years thought that I would move to Colorado.
Yep.
Never in a million years. And I moved up here, and I loved it. I fell in love. I love this place. And then, not until 2 weeks ago, I would have never thought in my life
that you'd leave.
That I was going to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So it just comes back to the commitment in the job. And when an office gets this big and you can't hold that accountability, see that level of commitment from, individuals in the room. Like you always say, one negative mindset decreases their productivity by 30%. Just one person. So that comes back to the standard when we split this office, you're not going to be able to hide up in the shadows as much.
No.
You're going to have to go out there and produce, and if you're not, well, then you're not trying to develop as a person, and it's not correlating into this room as well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because now we're going to get an opportunity. It's almost like as if you have like a family of snakes under a log. We're picking up that log and we get to see everything. It's no more trying to look under the house or something like we're picking the house up and looking and seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
So then we can really dissect any problems that we're having in the office and trim the fat.
Yeah.
And we can get rid of the people who are just kind of hanging on to the coattails of the people who are bringing us to the top.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think like you were saying as well is success attracts success, right?
Oh,
yeah. Energies they're like a magnet. So whenever you bring somebody, you bring yourself around somebody that's like positive, that's killing it. What does everybody in the room? They want to be a part of that,
Yep.
But whether or not, again, that saying of one negative person in a room will decrease productivity by 30%. By bringing a positive, motivated person into that room, it's only going to increase the productivity by 15%. So if you start to have more negative mindsets in the room surrounding that one positive mindset, it's going to drain the whole life source. So that's why it's really important to, as you bring people on, get them to be in the same mindset as you and understand the vision of where you're going. And then that's whenever you can start seeing incredible months of revenue and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it all comes back to, we're talking about trimming the fat. We can correlate it to the office and everything. But in a day-to-day life, man, if you don't treat your life like the way, that we treat this office as far as like trimming the fat, the negative mindsets, the negative friends that you're hanging out with, that are going, oh man, I'm broke, I ain't got no money, just miserable, while sitting there on Instagram judging other people for their lifestyle. You know what I mean? And instead of surrounding yourself with that, why don't you surround yourself with somebody positive that can help you bring yourself to another level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it goes back to again. One of the favorite sayings that we have is you'll never pass up or outwork somebody that you're worried about. Yep. So for us, the people at the bottom that they're, like you said, they're jealous. They see people like living the lifestyle that they can't ever live. Well, that's because they're worried about them. Mm-hmm. If they could just find a vision of where they want to go and put their mindset to it without worrying about the people around them. And without worrying about what people say about them, that's whenever they can unlock that potential and achieve their full goal.
Man, I know we had a lot. This past month has been crazy. We'll leave for Costa Rica tomorrow. So much stuff going on. Got 3 to 4. These next 3 to 4 months are going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
As well as for the people that are on board with us. What's going to happen here is it's one of the most exciting times of my life.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot, especially over the next couple of weeks. We're going to get more in depth about our journeys that we're experiencing. Yeah. We'll talk about the challenges that we experience on the day to day, as far as especially like you. Taking on the leadership role as market owner of Austin, Texas. We can compare our offices and stuff like that, have feedback of like what the types of training that we use to see results with closers and with knockers and stuff like that. So just come along with us on our journey, that kind of stuff, and we're gonna definitely achieve greatness over the next couple of months.
Oh, yeah. And also we got a bunch of exciting news coming up here. We got a couple people joining on the podcast, so stay tuned for that. Here's a lot of success stories, how people like myself, Garrett, how we've completely changed our lives in many aspects. You'll be able to hear it from other people, not just us. Mm-hmm. One of them, was he a 20-year-old kid? Yeah, 21-year-old kid. His life's completely changed, so you'll be able to hear the back end on, his journey. Jake from Phoenix.
He's only 25 years old, and he's made a lot more than we have.
Yeah. He's made a lot of money, and kind of get to break down, his success story and what got him here. So we appreciate all the support. We love all y'all. If there's anything that you would like to hear about from me or Cotton, or anybody, any questions that you have for us, if you're interested in, give us a call. You can find us on Instagram or Facebook. But we appreciate you joining on, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much.
Peace.